Hare Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. We're going to continue reading the pastimes of Pṛthu Maharaj from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 19. Would somebody like to read, please?
I can read.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Deepika, read.
Chapter 19. King Pṛthu's 100 horse sacrifices. Text 1. The great sage Maitreya continued, My dear Vidura, King Pṛthu initiated the performance of 100 horse sacrifices at the spot where the river Saraswati flows towards the east. This piece of land is known as Brahmavarta, and it was controlled by Swayambhuva Manu. Text 2. When the most powerful Indra, the king of heaven, saw this, he considered the fact that King Pṛthu was going to exceed him in fruitive activities. Thus, Indra could not tolerate the great sacrificial ceremonies performed by King Pṛthu. Text 3. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Vishnu, is present in everyone's heart as the Supersoul, and he is the proprietor of all planets and the enjoyer of the results of all sacrifices. He was personally present at the sacrifices made by King Pṛthu. Text 4. When Lord Vishnu appeared in sacrificial arena, Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, and all the chief predominating personalities of every planet, as well as their followers, came with him. When he appeared on the scene, the residents of Gandharva-lok, the great sages, and the residents of Apsara-lok all praised him. Text 5. The Lord was accompanied by the residents of Siddhalok and Vidyadhara-lok, all the descendants of Diti and the demons and the Yakshas. He was also accompanied by his chief associates, headed by Sunanda and Nanda. Text 6. Great devotees who were always engaged in the service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as well as the great sages named Kapila, Narad, and Dattatreya, and the masters of mystic powers, headed by Sanaka Kumar, all attended the great sacrifice with Lord Vishnu. Text 7. My dear Vidur, in that great sacrifice, the entire land came to be like the milk-producing Kamadhini, and thus, by the performance of Yajna, all daily necessities for life were supplied. Text 8. The flowing rivers supplied all kinds of taste, sweet, pungent, sour, etc., and very big trees supplied fruit and honey in abundance. The cows, having eaten sufficient green grass, supplied profuse quantities of milk, curd, clarified butter, and similar other necessities. Text 9. King Pṛthu was presented with various gifts from the general populace and predominating deities of all planets. The oceans and seas were full of valuable jewels and pearls, and the hills were full of chemicals and fertilizers. 4 kinds of edibles were produced profusely. Text 10. King Pṛthu was dependent on Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is known as Adokshaja. Because King Pṛthu performed so many sacrifices, he was superhumanly enhanced by the mercy of Supreme Lord, King Pṛthu's opulence. However, could not be tolerated by the King of Heaven, Indra, who tried to impede the progress of his opulence. Text 11. When Pṛthu Maharaj was performing the last horse sacrifice, Ashwamedha Yagya, King Indra, invisible to everyone, stole the horse intended for sacrifice. He did this because of his great envy of King Pṛthu. Text 12. When King Indra was taking away the horse, he dressed himself to appear as a liberated person. Actually, this dress was a form of cheating, for it falsely created an impression of religion. When Indra went into outer space in this way, the great sage Atri saw him and understood the whole situation. Text 13. When the son of King Pṛthu was informed by Atri of King Indra's trick, he immediately became very angry and followed Indra to kill him, calling, Wait, wait. Text 14. King Indra was fraudulently dressed as a sannyasi, having knotted his hair on his head and smeared ashes all over his body. Upon seeing such dress, the son of King Pṛthu considered Indra a religious man and pious sannyasi. Therefore, he did not release his arrows. Text 15. When Atri Muni saw that the son of King Pṛthu did not kill Indra but returned received by him, Atri Muni again instructed him to kill the heavenly king because he thought that Indra had become the lowliest of all demigods due to his impeding execution of King Pṛthu's sacrifice. Text 16. Being thus informed, the grandson of King Vena immediately began to follow Indra, who was fleeing through the sky in great haste. He was very angry with him, and he chased him just as the king of the vultures chased Ravana. Text 17. When Indra saw that the son of Pṛthu was chasing him, he immediately abandoned his false dress and left the horse. Indeed, he disappeared from that very spot, and the great hero, the son of Maharaj Pṛthu, returned the horse to his father's sacrificial arena. Text 18. My dear Lord Vidur, when the great sages observed the wonderful prowess of the son of King Pṛthu, they all agreed to give him the name Vijitasva. Text 19. My dear Vidur, Indra, being the king of heaven and very powerful, immediately brought a dense darkness upon the sacrificial arena. Covering the whole scene in this way, he again took away the horse, which was chained with golden shackles near the wooden instrument where animals were sacrificed. Text 20. The great sage Atri again pointed out to the son of King Pṛthu that Indra was fleeing through the sky. The great hero, the son of Pṛthu, chased him again. But when he saw that Indra was carrying in his hand a staff with a skull at the top and was again wearing the dress of a sannyasi, he still chose not to kill him. Text 21. When the great sage Atri again gave directions, the son of King Pṛthu became very angry and placed an arrow on his bow. Upon seeing this, King Indra immediately abandoned the false dress of a sannyasi and giving up the horse made himself invisible. Text 22. Then the great hero Vijitasva, the son of King Pṛthu, again took the horse and returned to his father's sacrificial arena. Since that time, certain men with a poor fund of knowledge have adopted the dress of a false sannyasi. It was King Indra who introduced this. Text 23. Whatever different forms Indra assumed as a mendicant because of his desire to seize the horse were symbols of atheistic philosophy. Text 24 to 25. In this way, King Indra, in order to steal the horse from King Pṛthu's sacrifice, adopted several orders of sannyasi. Some sannyasis go naked and sometimes they wear the red garments and pass under the name of Kapalika. These are simply symbolic representations of their sinful activities. These so-called sannyasis are very much appreciated by sinful men because they are all godless, atheists, and very expert in putting forward arguments and reasons to support their case. We must know, however, that they are only passing as adherents of religion and are not so in fact. Unfortunately, bewildered persons accept them as religious and being attracted to them, they spoil their life. Text 26. Maharaj Pṛthu, who was celebrated as powerful, immediately took up his bow and arrows and prepared to kill Indra himself, because Indra had introduced such irregular sannyas orders. Text 27. When the priest and all the others saw Maharaj Pṛthu very angry and prepared to kill Indra, they requested him, O great soul, do not kill him, for only sacrificial animals can be killed in a sacrifice. Such are the directions given by Shastra. Text 28. Dear King, Indra's powers are already reduced to his attempt to impede the execution of your sacrifice. We shall call him by Vedic mantras, which were never before used, and certainly he will come. Thus, by the power of our mantra, we shall cast him into fire because he is your enemy. Text 29. My dear Vidur, after giving the king this advice, the priest who had been engaged in performing the sacrifice called for Indra, the king of heaven, in a mood of great anger. When they were just ready to put the oblation in the fire, Lord Brahma appeared on the scene and forbade them to start the sacrifice. Text 30. When the priest and all the others saw Maharaj Pṛthu very angry and prepared to kill Indra, they requested him, O great soul, do not kill him, for only sacrificial animals can be killed in a sacrifice. Such are the directions given by Shastra. Text 31. To start the sacrifice. Text 30. Lord Brahma addressed them thus: My dear sacrificial performers, you cannot kill Indra, the king of heaven. It is not your duty. You should know that Indra is as good as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Indeed, he is one of the most powerful assistants of the Personality of Godhead. You are trying to satisfy all the demigods by the performance of yajna, but you should know that all these demigods are but part and parcel of Indra, the king of heaven. How then can you kill him in this great sacrifice? Text 31. In order to make trouble and impede the performance of King Pṛthu's great sacrifice, King Indra has adopted some means that in the future will destroy the clear path of religious life. I draw your attention to this fact. If you oppose him any further, he will further misuse his power and introduce many other irreligious systems. Text 32. Let there be only 99 sacrificial performance for Maharaj Pṛthu, Lord Brahma concluded. Lord Brahma then turned towards Maharaj Pṛthu and informed him that since he was thoroughly aware of the path of liberation, what was the use in performing more sacrifices? Text 33. Lord Brahma continued, Let there be good fortune to both of you, for you and King Indra are both part and parcel of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, you should not be angry with King Indra, who is non-different from you. Text 34. My dear king, do not be agitated and anxious because your sacrifices have not been properly executed due to providential impediments. Kindly take my words with great respect. We should always remember that if something happens by providential arrangement, we should not be very sorry. The more we try to rectify such reversals, the more we enter into the darkest region of materialistic thought. Text 35. Lord Brahma continued, Stop the performance of these sacrifices, for they have induced Indra to introduce so many irreligious aspects. You should know very well that even amongst the demigods, there are many unwanted desires. Text 36. Just see how Indra, the king of heavens, was creating a disturbance in the midst of sacrifice by stealing the sacrificial horse. These attractive sinful activities he has introduced will be carried out by the people in general. Text 37. O King Pṛthu, son of Vena, you are the part and parcel of the expansion of Lord Vishnu. Due to the mischievous activities of King Vena, religious principles were almost lost. At that opportune moment, you descended as the incarnation of Lord Vishnu. Indeed, for the protection of religious principles, you have appeared from the body of King Vena. Text 38. O protector of the people in general, please consider the purpose of your being incarnated by Lord Vishnu. The irreligious principles created by Indra are but mothers of so many unwanted religions. Please therefore stop these imitations immediately. Text 39. The great sage Maitreya continued, when King Pṛthu was thus advised by the supreme teacher, Lord Brahma, he abandoned his eagerness to perform yajnas and with great affection concluded a peace with King Indra. Text 40. After this, Pṛthu Maharaj took his bath, which is customarily taken after the performance of yajna, and received the benedictions and due blessings of the demigods, who were very pleased by his glorious activities. Text 41. With great respect, the original King Pṛthu offered all kinds of rewards to Brahmanas present at the sacrifice. Since all these Brahmanas were very much satisfied, they gave their heartfelt blessings to King. Text 42. All the great sages and Brahmanas said, O mighty King, by your invitation, all classes of living entities have attended this assembly. They have come from Pitralok and the heavenly planets, and great sages as well as common men have attended this meeting. Now all of them are very much satisfied by your dealings and your charity towards them. Hare Krishna. Payal, you want to continue?
Yeah, sure. Chapter 20. Lord Vishnu's appearance in the sacrificial arena of Maharaj Pṛthu. Text 1. The great sage Maitreya continued, My dear Vidur, being very much satisfied by the performance of 99 horse sacrifices, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Vishnu, appeared on the scene. Accompanying him was King Indra. Lord Vishnu then began to speak. Text 2. Lord Vishnu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, said, My dear King Pṛthu, Indra, the King of Heaven, has disturbed your execution of 100 sacrifices. Now he has come with me to be forgiven by you. Therefore, excuse him. Text 3. O King, one who is advanced in intelligence and eager to perform welfare activities for others is considered best amongst human beings. As an advanced human being is never malicious to others. Those with advanced intelligence are always conscious that this material body is different from the soul. Text 4. If a personality like you who are so much advanced because of executing the instructions of the previous acharyas is carried away by the influence of my material energy, then all your advancement may be considered simply a waste of time. Text 5. Those who are in full knowledge of the bodily conception of life, who know that this body is composed of nescience, desires, and activities resulting from illusion, do not become addicted to the body. Text 6. How can a highly learned person who has absolutely no affinity for the bodily conception of life be affected by the bodily conception in regard to house, children, wealth, and similar other bodily productions? Text 7. The individual soul is one, pure, non-material, and self-effulgent. He is the reservoir of all good qualities, and he is all-pervading. He is without material covering, and he is the witness of all activities. He is completely distinguished from other living entities, and he is transcendental to all embodied souls. Text 8. Although within the material nature, one who is thus situated in full knowledge of the Paramatma and Atma is never affected by the modes of material nature, for he is always situated in my transcendental loving service. Text 9. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Vishnu, continued, My dear King Pṛthu, when one situated in his occupational duty engages in my loving service without motive for material gain, he gradually becomes very satisfied within. Text 10. When the heart is cleansed with all material contamination, the devotee's mind becomes broader and transparent, and he can see things equally. At that stage of life, there is peace, and one is situated equally with me as Sachitanand Vigraha. Text 11. Anyone who knows that this material body made of the change of this material world is due to the interaction of the three modes of material nature, the five elements.
Body made of 5 gross elements.
Yeah. Text 11. Anyone who knows that this material body is made of the 5 gross elements, the sense organs, the working senses, and the mind is simply supervised by the fixed soul is eligible to be liberated from material bondage. Text 12. Lord Vishnu told King Pṛthu, My dear King, the constant change of this material world is due to the interaction of the 3 modes of material nature. The 5 elements, the senses, the demigods, who control the senses as well as the mind, which is agitated by the spirit soul. All these taken together comprise the body. Since the spirit soul is completely different from the combination of gross and subtle material elements, my devotee who is connected with me is in intense friendship and affection, being completely in knowledge, is never agitated by material happiness and distress. Text 13. My dear heroic King, please keep yourself always equipoised and treat people equally, whether they are greater than you, in the intermediate stage, or lower than you. Do not be disturbed by temporary distress or happiness. Fully control your mind and senses. In this transcendental position, try to execute your duty as king in whatever condition of life you may be posted by my arrangement. For your only duty here is to give protection to the citizens of your kingdom. Text 14. To give protection to the general mass of people who are citizens of the state is the prescribed occupational duty for a king. By acting in that way, the king in his next life shares 1/6 of the result of his pious activities of the citizen. But a king or executive head of state who simply collects taxes from the citizens but does not give them proper protection as human beings has the result of his own pious activities taken away by the citizens, and in exchange for his not giving protection he becomes liable to punishment for the impious activities of his subjects. Text 15. Lord Vishnu continued, My dear King Pṛthu, If you continue to protect the citizens according to the instructions of the learned Brahmanas, authorities, as they are received by the disciplic succession, by hearing from the master to discipline, and if you follow the religious principle laid down by them, without attachment to ideas manufactured by mental concoction, then every one of your citizens will be happy and will love you. And very soon you will be able to see such already liberated personalities as the four Kumaras, Sanaka, Sanatana, Sanadana, and Kumara. Text 16. My dear king, I am very captivated by your elevated qualities and excellent behavior, and thus I am very favorably inclined towards you. You may therefore ask from me any benedictions you like. One who does not possess elevated qualities and behavior cannot possibly achieve my favor simply by performance of our sacrifices, severe austerities, or mystic yoga. But I always remain equipoised in the heart of one who is also equipoised in all circumstances. Text 17. The great sage Maitreya continued, My dear Vidur, in this way Maharaj Pṛthu, the conqueror of the entire world, accepted the instruction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead on his head. Text 18. As King Indra was standing by, he became ashamed of his own activities and fell down before King Pṛthu to touch his lotus feet. But Pṛthu Maharaj immediately embraced him in great ecstasy and gave up all envy against him for his having stolen the horse meant for the sacrifice. Text 19. King Pṛthu abundantly worshipped the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who was so merciful to him. While worshipping the lotus feet of the Lord, Pṛthu Maharaj gradually increased his ecstasy in devotional service. Text 20. The Lord was just about to leave, but because he was so greatly inclined towards the behavior of King Pṛthu, he did not depart. Seeing the behavior of Maharaj Pṛthu with his lotus eyes, he was detained because he was always the well-wisher of his devotees. Text 21. The original King Maharaj Pṛthu, his eyes full of tears and his voice fluttering and choked up, could neither see the Lord very distinctly nor speak to address the Lord in any way. He simply embraced the Lord within his heart and remained standing in that way with folded hands. Text 22. The Supreme Personality of Godhead stood with his lotus feet almost touching the ground while he was rested in front of his hand on the raised shoulder of Garuda, the enemy of the snakes. Maharaj Pṛthu, wiping the tears from his eyes, tried to look upon the Lord, but it appeared that the king was not fully satisfied by looking at him. Thus the king offered the following prayers. Text 23. My dear Lord, you are the best of the demigods who can offer benedictions. Why, therefore, should any learned person ask you for benediction meant for living entities bewildered by the modes of nature? Thus, benedictions are available automatically even in the lives of living entities suffering in hellish conditions. My dear Lord, you can certainly bestow merging into your existence, but I do not wish to have such a benediction. Text 24. My dear Lord, I therefore do not wish to have the benediction of merging into your existence, a benediction in which there is no existence of the nectarine beverage of your lotus feet. I want the benediction of at least 1,000,000 years, for thus I may be able to hear about the glories of your lotus feet from the mouths of your pure devotees. Text 25. My dear Lord, you are glorified by the selected verses uttered by great personalities. Such glorification of your lotus feet is just like saffron particles. When the transcendental vibration from the mouths of great devotees carries the aroma of the saffron dust of your lotus feet, the forgetful living entity gradually remembers his eternal relationship with you. Devotees thus gradually come to the right conclusion about the value of life. My dear Lord, I therefore do not need any other benedictions but the opportunity to hear them from the mouth of your pure devotee. Text 26. My dear, highly glorified Lord, if one, in the association of your devotees, hears even once the glories of your activities, he does not, unless he is nothing but an animal, give up the association of the devotees, for no intelligent person would be so careless as to leave their association. The perfection of chanting and hearing about your glories was accepted even by the goddess of fortune, who desired to hear of your unlimited activities and transcendental glories. Text 27. Now I wish to engage in the service of the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and to serve just like the goddess of fortune, who carries a lotus flower in her hand. because his lordship, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is a reservoir of all transcendental qualities. I am afraid that the goddess of fortune and I would quarrel because of both of us would be attentively engaged in the same service. Text 28. My dear Lord of the universe, the goddess of fortune, Lakshmi, is the mother of the universe, and yet I think that she may be angry with me because of my intruding upon her service and acting on that very platform to which she is so much attached. Yet I am hopeful that even though there is some misunderstanding, you will take you you will take my part, and you are very much inclined to the poor, and you always magnify even insignificant service unto you. Therefore, even though she becomes angry, I think there is no harm for you, because you are so self-sufficient and that you can do without her. Text 29. Great saintly persons who are always liberated take to your devotional service, because only by devotional service can one be relieved from the illusion of material existence. O my Lord, there is no reason for the liberated souls to take shelter at your lotus feet, except that such souls are constantly thinking of your feet. Text 30. My dear Lord, what you have said to your unalloyed devotee is certainly very much bewildering. The allurements you offer in the Vedas are certainly not suitable for pure devotees. People in general, bound by the sweet words of the Vedas, engage themselves again and again in fruitive activities, enamored by the result of their actions. Text 31. My dear Lord, due to your illusionary energy, all living beings in this material world are forgotten their real constitutional position, and out of ignorance, they are always desirous of material happiness in the form of society, friendship, and love. Therefore, please do not ask me to take some material benefits from you, but as a father not waiting for the son's demand, does everything for the benefit of the son. Please bestow upon me whatever you think is best for me. Text 32. The great sage Maitreya continued by saying that the Lord, the seer of the universe, after hearing Pṛthu Maharaj's prayer, addressed the king. My dear king, may you always be blessed by engaging in my devotional service. Only by such purity of purpose, as you yourself very intelligently express, can one cross over the insurmountable illusionary energy of Maya. Text 33. My dear king, O protector of the citizens, henceforward be very careful to execute my orders and not to be misled by anything. Anyone who lives in that way, simply carrying out my orders faithfully, will always find good fortune all over the world. Text 34. The great Saint Maitreya told Vidur, the Supreme Personality of Godhead appreciated the meaningful prayers of Maharaj Pṛthu. Thus, after being properly worshipped by the king, the Lord blessed him and decided to depart. Text 35 and 36. King Pṛthu worshipped the demigods, the great sages, the inhabitants of Pitralok, the inhabitants of Gandharvalok, and all those Siddhalokas, Charnaloka, Panagaloka, Kinaraloka, Apsaraloka, the earthly planets and the planets of the birds. He also worshipped many other living entities who presented themselves in the sacrificial arena. With folded hands, he worshipped all these as well as the Supreme Personality of Godhead and the personal associates of the Lord by offering sweet words and as much wealth as possible. After this function, they all went back to their respective abodes, following in the footsteps of Lord Vishnu. Text 37. The infallible Supreme Personality of Godhead, having captivated the minds of the king and the priests who were present, returned to his abode in the spiritual sky. Text 38. King Pṛthu then offered his respectful obeisances unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the Supreme Lord of all demigods. Although not an object of material vision, the Lord revealed himself to the sight of Maharaj Pṛthu. After offering obeisances to the Lord, the king returned to his home.
Jai, thank you so much.
Hare
Pṛthu
Krishna.
Maharaj ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Bhakta Vindi ki jai. Hare Krishna.